Hi, I'm Matt Green. I'm a special makeup effects and creature creator out of Atlanta, and I'm also a director and producer. The thing that got me into this was at 10 years old, my father took us to see Star Wars on opening day, and I had no idea what I was going to see. It kind of got inside my DNA, and immediately I walked into the theater wanting to be an airline pilot like my father, and I walked out of the theater wanting to know how to make movies, and I never looked back. I started making short films and things when I was 10 years old, but I hit professional at about 18. My first job was with a company called Physical Dimensions Incorporated, and they made like big props for malls and some movie stuff. Actually, the first film I worked on was Return of Swamp Thing. I made slime, so that was the extent of it. Worked in a couple of different shops. I discovered in '97 a shop in Atlanta called the Great Illusion Factory that hired me for about 4 years, and just did a ton of props and commercials for the lottery, and we did like alien makeups and fun stuff like that. In 1999, I made my first film. And then that led to my second film, which I hired Tom Savini to play a bad guy. Got to meet him, got to know him. A year later, I made another movie with him, called him in, and when that was finished, he called me and said, hey, I've got this school up here, and we are in need of someone with animatronics experience, and they needed a teacher, so I came up and visited and worked here for 3 years as an instructor. I worked here from 2003 to 2005. Came into this not knowing what to expect and was pretty much pleasantly surprised right away. I had a good time with the students. The overall attitude here was high. They all brought something to it, and I would say, the majority of them really wanted to do this bad. That's the beauty of this school, is that most of the students that come here, if not all of them, really want to do what they're here to practice, and they give it their all. It's a good feeling to see some of them go from the beginning when they got here, and some of them have no experience whatsoever, to watching them progress and to add a little bit to that. I've actually come into contact now in my professional life working out of Atlanta, where we're really busy, with some students that I had back then who have really excelled, and some of them, one in particular, is actually running big movies. I mean, like big makeup crews for big movies. So I take no responsibility for his talent, but I do like that I had a hand in shaping him and pushing him in the right direction, I think. Did a film while I was here teaching at the school. We shot Loaded Dice, which is an action movie. We ran around town here, kind of making the town crazy for about 10 weekends. If you know anything about this place, when you drive into town, the first thing you see is the all-seeing eye, the giant flame shooting out of the coal plant across the street. And boy, did that bring back a flood of memories. But I pulled in and pulled up to the front of the Douglas building and just kind of stood there for a second, got out of the car and just stood there looking around going, wow, this is surreal, because in 4 months it'll have been 20 years that I started here, and this place has changed a lot in a very good way. There's a lot more eye candy, a lot more things that kind of inspire, I would hope inspires the students to do phenomenal work. The classrooms are all about the same, which is cool because they were always really good. I just got done getting a tour of the museum, which has some amazing work in it. I mean, just knocked my socks off, some of it. The students here work really hard, and sometimes they turn out work that is unbelievable for a student. Every bit of work in that museum is work you could put on a feature film. Every bit of it. It was kind of emotional. Right away, I had to kind of step back and inside myself and go, wow, this was a big chunk of my life, and it brings back a lot of good memories. The school was a lot of fun for me, and it's a lot of fun to come back and see everybody and look at the portfolios of these fourth semester students, which is why I'm here to do portfolio reviews. And there's some really good talent here. There's some, they've all got a pretty good handle on what they're doing. I got hired on Three Stooges in '09 to be in the paint department, no less, but I just joined the union. And that started, and then I literally have not stopped working since. There have been just movie after movie after movie because we have so much work in Atlanta. I went on to do MacGyver for 2 years. I worked on seasons 4 and 5, building a lot of hand props, a lot of electronic props, all the little fun gadgets he makes and things, and bombs, a lot of bombs. They love bombs. I worked on Hidden Figures and made 2 life-size Mercury capsules. Did those in 2.5 weeks out of my carport with a crew of 4 guys. It was pretty amazing. I got to work on a fan film called Star Trek First Frontier, where I built a 11-foot replica of the Enterprise, perfect in every detail. So that's actually been kind of an amazing piece, because even though I didn't get paid to do it, it led to several bigger jobs later because people saw that we could do that. I worked on Hunger Games 2, 3, and 4. I've worked on all 3 Walking Dead series, the original one, and I've just made props for them and things. Most recently, I've been working on The Descendants Part 4 for Disney. Did a whole lot of silicone props for them, the magic wands that they use, and all kinds of fun things. So I worked on Stargirl, did a lot of on-set special effects for that. There was a nice big fight with the Green Lantern and her. in a kitchen, and we rigged a ton of this stuff to explode. I made a lot of breakaway props, like a door that gets cut in half by the staff, and the broken Green Lantern was a lot of fun. The robot Stripe, I made his flamethrower that season 2 they put on his arm. I also just finished working on Francis Ford Coppola's final feature film called Megalopolis. A whole lot of very interesting prop work, things you wouldn't normally do on a film, odd things that have to do certain things, like weird zero gravity props, things that are stuck in time, and it's a lot of fun. I also just did a TV show called Hysteria, where I've done a lot of cool masks for the killers in the show, and it's fun to get to build the iconic pieces. Hopefully the show will be remembered, and I'll build something that will go into the lexicon of serial killer movies. There's nothing about what we do that is a magic secret. You can get your hands dirty and just start figuring out how things go together. And then you come here and you actually get a focus. You actually get someone these instructors and classes are pushing you into a certain direction. You find out what you like the best. Some students find out once they leave here they don't necessarily want to make monsters, but they want to make other things, and they've learned these skills that you can put these into a lot of different artistic endeavors.